Welcome to the Just Drive podcast.
What's going on, y'all? We are back this week. We got Joe Bella in the house from Camaro Fest. Is it cold up there, man?
It's fucking freezing. I'm in my truck. Excuse my language. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, you're good, bro. You're good.
In my
Yeah,
truck,
dude.
it's like 33 degrees outside. There you go.
Dude, I'm pretty sure it was in like the 80s here today.
Oh, I feel so bad for you.
What's going on, Braden? Dude, so are you coming to NOLA?
I'm not gonna make it to NOLA. I'm
Okay.
saving my pennies for where we going? Pit race,
Okay.
Road America, and then Summit Point, but plus Camaro Fest.
Yeah, those definitely some big ticket items there.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, plus I gotta go get the car, so I need a weekend. I need a weekend to go actually travel and get the thing.
That's fair. Yeah, you gotta have some of that vacation time saved up.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what's up, man. How you been?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to I know USCA has already started, but up here it's still cold and not car season yet, so I'm looking forward to that starting up again.
Yeah. Dude, that's sick. It's sick that it's I mean, we're like full swing season. I mean, like
Yeah.
I like every racing series around here is, I mean, I don't know, probably almost a quarter through their season by now.
Yeah, no, not yet.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Why we travel to go do stuff. We come to you.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, dude. Sebring was probably hot for you.
It was nice. It was funny when I got home. Actually, that particular weekend, it was when I left. It was about the same temperature as when I got there, and by the time I came home, I think Florida was in like the 70s, and I came home to like 28 or something ridiculous. It was whatever.
That was a really nice weekend. That weather was
it was a blast.
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh man. So dude, what let's start asking you some questions about Camaro Fest,
for it,
man.
yeah.
Well, I want to start with, man, what was your first car you ever had?
Oh man. All right, we have to clarify because I want to have an out to this answer. It's the first car I ever bought or the first car I ever drove?
First car that belonged to you.
Belonged to me was a 2008 Cobalt sedan.
Okay. There's nothing wrong
It
with
wasn't an SS. It was just, still had crank windows, that thing. But
that's all right. I had an 88 Ford Ranger.
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, it was a college car, it was to get me back and forth to school and not break down. My parents let me borrow a minivan for probably about six months or so before that. And it was not running right by the time I went to school. So my first modification was a chrome tailpipe cover.
There you go.
I had to bling that thing out. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like $5.99 on the shelf.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah. So what got you into Camaros then?
So my dad actually, kind of by accident, because he likes his car and stuff, but he's not like what we would consider a car guy. But he's got a '79 Z28, and when we were growing up, we didn't know what it was. I mean, we never really paid attention. We just called it as little kids, we called it the vroom vroom car because that sucker back then, it just rocked back and forth when it was idling. And I remember sitting on the hump, and going to get ice cream and stuff like that. So when I got my permit and I'm starting to drive, I started thinking about what car I wanted. And at first, and you're gonna hate me for this maybe, but I wanted like a Dodge Charger. Like it was the coolest car that right around, I don't know, like 05, 06. Like that was the coolest car that was on the road just in terms of looks. Everything else looked the same, And right as I started getting into that, the concept Camaro dropped in 2006. And I saw some internet, pages on that car, and it was like, that's when I put two and two together that my dad had a Camaro and that I liked that one. And so that was it. That became my goal, and ended up with a 2012 ZL1 as my first Camaro.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's a good Camaro for the first one.
that was a lot of car.
Josh is tuning in while doing NOLA prep right now. That's
He's got
what's
his
up.
phone zip tied to the chassis.
That's it, dude. That's it. So then when did you start racing?
I actually started racing right around the same time. So when we were all part of the Camaro 5 forum, and if anybody's watching who was from back then, I mean, it's still around, but it's just not as big as it used to be. And I think I was member number like 471 or something like that. Out of By the time I stopped visiting that website, I mean, we had like 300,000 members on that site.
That's wild.
And so when I got in, they needed moderators, and I volunteered. And at the time, I was just like a late teenager. I just had my
Yeah.
permit. I was interested in driving and cars and Camaros, and um, one thing led to another, and that site became so popular that GM started like an outreach program for media. Every time they would drop a new
Okay.
car, they would bring out journalists and influencers, and back then, like, social media wasn't quite as potent as it is today. So forums were a thing, and like you probably remember like LS1 Tech and
Yeah.
I think Camaros28.com. Like there were a bunch of different websites, and so I ended up repping Camaro 5 at some of these events. And the first one I went to was when they launched the ZL1 at Gingerman Raceway in Michigan. And
Okay.
so, or no, wait a minute, I misspoke. That was VIR. They did it at VIR because that was the first track I'd ever been to. And they just put these journalists. I mean, I guess that's what I was at the time. They considered me a journalist. So they just dropped us in these ZL1s, and we got to drive around VIR. And back then, like, it was a 6-speed, automatic, had the paddle shift, and it was like kind of cool. And now it's not good.
That
But
was new technology then.
oh yeah, they were talking about it, and so that was the first track I'd been on. And again, I was, oh god, when did the 2012? So I was like probably 22 at that point or something like
Okay.
that. I didn't know racing was a thing. I didn't know you could do that. And here we
Yeah.
all are driving around this track, and so I started looking it up, and it's like, damn, this is a thing that you can do. So I bought my car because I wanted to track it. They obviously I got to drive it at this media event, fell in love with the thing, um, and they told about how track ready it was, and it could handle the heat and the brakes and everything, and so yeah, that's why I ended up getting that car, and I started. I think I raced it the very first year I got it. We went to Camaro Fest in Indianapolis that year, and then I also did a Gingerman event in Michigan with a couple of friends. So
Dude, that's awesome. That's a sick experience though. That's like
I had a lot of
VIR
really,
alone.
yeah, yeah, oh
That's
yeah,
a bucket list track for me.
yeah. Well, and I didn't know what I was doing either, So
Yeah.
I'm behind this 580 horsepower friggin' Camaro on VIR of all tracks. They had to put cones out to slow everybody down, and like I didn't know what I was doing. So I remember, I haven't been there since. I think there's a hairpin on there. I think they call the oak tree or big tree or something like that. And I took this car around the corner way too hot. And I remember hitting the brakes too late, and the rear started rotating on me. And back then, I lost control. I didn't know what it was
Yeah.
called. But so the ass started coming around, and that was the first Camaro that they put that traction control, that track system on. I'm,
Okay.
I'm forgetting what it's called. Um, something
This is
track
it that stuff
management.
that people were fighting against it all the time?
No, no, this was the
This was
good
actually
stuff. It
good.
was, yeah, it
Okay.
was PTM, performance traction management.
Okay.
So it was meant to go on tracks,
Okay.
and it would, like, it was just smarter. They put way more effort into it. And every generation they came out with Camaro or Corvette, it was better. And so that was the
Yeah.
first time they'd gotten it onto the Camaro. And I'll never forget it because I'm coming around this corner thinking I am going to wreck this car. I've never been on a track before. GM's never going to invite me to another thing. And all of a sudden, that system just like grabbed one of the wheels, and I it felt like an all-wheel drive car. It was the weirdest feeling. I came around that bend and just kept accelerating, and I was good.
Yep.
That sold me from somebody that didn't know how to race and just really wanted a cool car. Um, I couldn't pass that up, so I just fell in love with it from that point on.
Yeah. That's sick, dude. Especially like you were talking about the paddle shifters and like back then, that was just new technology that
Oh yeah,
was, see, like every car has it now. Like I
right.
had a Sonata a few years ago that had it, not the same thing. It's the transmission was absolutely garbage in that car, but to be able to have that step for you to coming from a form and being, what you said you were a teenager at the time, and you were able to go
At when I raced that car, I was in my really early 20s.
okay, your early 20s and you're going out and testing a car that has
Yeah,
new technology in it. That's sick. That's a cool experience.
it was. We got to do a lot of that stuff. They started backing off of it when they came out with the sixth gen. Um,
Oh,
but I got
yeah.
to do. We did the 1LE, the fifth gen 1LE at Gingerman. We did the sixth gen launch. They did something called Find New Roads, and they
Okay.
stitched a whole bunch of people all across the country. They did literally like a countrywide tour, and they would do it like at 500 miles at a time and switch out the journalists or whoever that they would put in the cars.
Okay.
And I got the leg from Syracuse, New York to Boston, and I put 1,000 miles on that car in 36 hours, and got some wicked pictures. It was just super cool. And then they let us drive the V6 six gens, the V6. I think no, they weren't 1LEs yet, but it was a V6 car around the Belle Isle racetrack. They had already barricaded
Okay.
everything up, and that was the same track that Mark Royce spun the ZR1 a bunch of years ago. But these Camaros we were driving still looked like cows. They had all the camouflage on it, all the
Oh,
paint and
yeah.
triangles and
Yeah.
things. So after
So
we were
people can't take
done,
pictures.
yep, exactly. So after they were done launching the sixth gen, they put us into those and let us drive them around the Belle Isle track, which was wild because it was like friggin' Monaco or something. It was cool.
Yeah.
I've had such a good experience through that forum and with Chevy. It's kind of it's over now. They don't do that stuff anymore, so it's kind of sad, but like it's really cool to talk about.
Yeah. That's cool because that's like, I grew up watching with Top Gear,
Oh
Jeremy
yeah,
Clarkson, Richard Hammond, James May, and that experience sounds like, a Top Gear experience.
yeah.
That's sick.
I mean, probably a little less destruction, but
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
it was a lot of fun, and I wrote some articles and did my best to uphold my end, of the bargain. They wanted coverage.
Yeah.
In fact, they had me at New York when they launched the Z28 at the
Okay.
at the International Auto Show, and that I mean, there's a lot to that whole story, but basically, they they accidentally some intern put all of the Z28 details in the press binder, and it wasn't supposed to be there because it was a secret reveal. And I
Yeah.
got the binder, and so that morning I was reading through it, and it's going, holy crap, LS7, all this stuff, and I showed a friend of mine from General Motors. I'm like, dude, I can't believe you guys did this, and he went white, like ghost white. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, it's right here. And he goes, can I have that, please? And he
Face
took my
palm.
binder, and it just turned into this like really quiet back room upheaval. There, like somebody was getting fired. And they asked me, have you
Yeah.
posted that anywhere? And I said, no. And they said, please don't. I was like, okay. Um, yeah, there was some cool times.
Yeah, that's sick. Um, well, so then when did Camaro Fest start? How did you become a part of
The
Camaro Fest? What did
The
that
so the Camaro Fest started on the forum. The very
Okay.
first year we did it was 2010, and it was just supposed to be a gathering of like local
Camaro
Camaro
dudes.
guys from
Yeah.
the forum. Yeah, so the guy that ran it, his name was Chris. He lived out of Florida, like northern Florida, and they found this track just south of Atlanta,
Okay.
It was a small little drag strip, and so all they wanted to do was just one day get like 100 guys from the forum and let's just go racing and have a good time. It turned into this massive thing. They ended up getting, I think we had like 40 or 50 sponsors that year. We had General Motors came down to be a sponsor of it.
Jeez.
Um, that we did an autocross. We did the obviously the drag races and stuff. Um, it was an incredible experience, and we didn't know. Like I just attended at that point. I knew it was happening. I helped with like I did graphics and stuff, so I made a couple, you know, internet banners or whatever. But
Yeah.
I just showed up, and it was huge, just huge. You couldn't move. The track was too small for what we were doing, and the unanimous feedback was we need a 2-day event. Like this isn't long enough.
Okay.
And so the next year we did it in Arizona, um, turned it into a 2-day event, and then the rest is, I mean, history. We've
Yeah.
been moving around a little bit, but it just got bigger and bigger, until we are where we are now.
That's wild. Man, you're moving all over the place. That's wild. You go from Georgia to
Yeah.
Arizona. Like,
Yep.
wow.
Well, the original intent was because the forum was national, we thought it would make sense to move the event around the whole country and,
Yeah.
try to, whatever, try to reach different parts of the country that had people with Camaros who were interested in coming. And so we moved from Atlanta to Chandler, which is just south of Phoenix, Arizona. Then we went to Indianapolis. Then we went to, I think we went to Houston, and then Bowling Green. We every year Chevy was involved, and so they asked us when we launched the sixth gen. They asked us to partner with them and do like a Camaro Fest in Michigan. There were no tracks or anything, and we were this close to doing an autocross in the production factory's parking lot, and the insurance guys, they didn't want to hear it, so we couldn't do that. But so that was the last time we moved. After that, we went back to Bowling Green because it was such a good time, and right around that time, we kind of separated the event from the forum and
Okay.
decided to make it a little bit more formal. And it was just the Bowling Green's fantastic, and we just chose to stay there because none of the other places we had been was any less expensive, any more welcoming. They had everything, so
Yeah.
that became our home.
And the Corvette Museum's right there too, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The Corvette
So
Museum's there,
that's a
and the
whole
Corvette.
weekend.
It's enormous, and the Corvette Museum has the track, which they didn't used to when we first started Camaro Fest. That track wasn't constructed. So by
Okay.
the time we made it to Bowling Green, they have this amazing road course,
Yeah.
and it just became part of the event too. So we usually have somewhere between like 70 to 80 cars out there, rolling around
That's
the road
insane.
course.
That's cool. I've been to the Corvette Museum once with
Yeah.
my grandfather post sinkhole.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, so not it wasn't that long ago. That place is sick. You could spend days in that place.
You can. You absolutely can. The first year I was there, we don't, with running the fest and everything, I didn't have a whole bunch of time to just goof off.
Yeah.
We were
Oh
rushed
yeah.
through. We rushed through the museum in like 25 minutes, right? We just walked through it literally, and I felt like I missed out on something in life. So the next year, I actually went a day early so we could spend the whole day there. Um, so yeah, it was good.
That's cool, man. So for anybody that doesn't know, what exactly is Camaro Fest?
Sure. So Camaro Fest is a depends how much you do, but it could be a 5-day event in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where we start with a road course event on Thursday. I
Okay.
guess I can't count right. I guess it's a 4-day event. Anyways, we can do a road course event on Thursday at the Corvette Museum road track. And so it's the full grand course, 3.15, it's like 3.25 miles. They've got a turn in the course called Sinkhole. I mean, it's amazing track. Um, if you're a beginner, we've got beginner classes we do lead follows with an instructor so you can learn the line.
That's awesome.
And then we have an advanced class where the instructors then participate themselves just to go have fun. Passing, it's everything you would expect of an HDP, HPDE. with as much of an instructor, factor that we can get.
Yeah.
Then Friday, we all migrate to Beach Bend Raceway Park, where there's drag racing. We do an autocross inside of their oval. We do a judged, really well done car show. Um, we actually added a class last year for themed cars because people weren't just cleaning their cars anymore. They were giving them personalities. We had
Yeah.
one that was, if you remember that Spawn character with like the devil guy, and
Yes.
there was one car that the guy brought in. It was a Spawn themed. It was
Okay.
absolutely incredible. And they were so far and above and different than anything else in the show field. We created their own class. Um, so we do that. We've got, there's vendors there. Obviously, you guys have done a lot of coverage of Operational Speed Supply, so they're going to be there with all sorts of stuff, bells on, as they say. Hoosier just signed up as a vendor, so we're going to have them displaying a
That's
new,
sick.
their new track tire.
Yeah.
And I think he told me that they're going to bring a new line of car care products. I didn't know Hoosier did this, but they're going to
Okay.
bring car care products. And if I hope I'm not saying this wrong, but I think he told me that they're called Who's Your Mama and Who's Your Daddy. So I'm eager myself to see what these car care
That's
products are
worth buying
because
alone right there, just on the name.
I just have to have that bottle on my shelf.
That's it.
Um,
You put it in the
so yeah,
background somewhere around here.
right, yeah. So we're gonna have a whole lineup of vendors. So that's Friday and Saturday. We'll have the
Okay.
finals for everything on Saturday. The car show judging is kind of unique too because you can get it judged either Friday or Saturday. It's drive-through
Okay.
judging. So it's on your own time, like whatever works for you. We've got the space to park and display, but if you want to be judged, you're going to pull up to the judge's tent whenever you're
That's cool
ready.
because then you can have a crowd there watching too, and
Yeah, it's kind
that's
of neat.
sick.
So we'll do that. Then Saturday it's the same deal. I think I said that already. And then Sunday is our cruise, our bourbon cruise. So it's a later start. Let people get a little bit of sleep. We go meet at the Corvette Museum at like 10ish, 10:30, and then we go out and cruise into the Kentucky, Bourbon Trail. This year, I think we're gonna try to set up a tour of Brian Tooley Racing. Their shop. I guess they have a pretty neat showroom that they want to tour and kind of show off, and then they're not very far from one
Okay.
of our bourbon stops, so that's kind of the plan. And then throughout the whole deal, we're doing like a pro class, so you can do drag racing, you can do autocross, you can do the road course, you can do the show, do everything or anything you want, or just one. Like it's really catered to whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you go the pro class, you have to do it all. So you would participate in the road course. You have to stay on track at least 20 minutes for one of the sessions. We
Okay.
can't time you, it's insurance weirdness, but
For sure.
you will participate there. Then when you come back to Beach Bend Thursday or Saturday or both, we're going to get your times on the autocross, get your times on the drag strip, and then we're going to send you through the show line and get judged. And depending on how all those points add up, we'll declare like an event winner for the entire Camaro Fest. Um, This is our 14th year now putting on a show, 15th year since we started. We took the COVID year,
Yeah.
we skipped, but it gets better every year. We usually have somewhere, depending on, what's going on, we have somewhere between 650 to like 800 cars. And it's first through sixth gen, Firebirds, Camaros, everybody's welcome. And it's an amazing time. um, I think my favorite part of the whole thing, if I'm being honest, like the event's meant for people who drive their cars, right? Like this is racing. This is like,
Yeah.
just drive, and to
Yeah.
plug your
Exactly, dude.
pods in. But it's it's meant for that. Um,
If for
but my
like-minded people, Camaro people,
Yeah, but
you know?
my favorite part is every night we all go back to the host hotel and we just have a big party in the lot. And it's become such a thing that like I reserve the parking lot from the hotel. They've got a convention center right attached to it, so they got
Okay.
like 300-400 parking spots. And I never really appreciated all the, we call them all the disco lights, on the car. You got the underglow, you got the wheel glow, you got the under the hood stuff and behind the grill and the fancy headlights. And you don't see that stuff during the day because it's too bright out. But at night, man, it looks like a friggin' carnival. And then I think Fridays and Saturdays, we never organized this, but at 10 o'clock, everybody starts revving the crap out of their cars. And so you get like 300 or 400 of these Camaros, all with, and Firebirds, and first all the old cars. It's the loudest freaking thing. Um, and it's super cool. Everybody gets their phones out and stuff. But we've got a DJ coming Friday night. The hotel puts bars out on the patio
Dude.
for us, and it's a
So
great
they
time.
completely cater. That's sick. You would not
Yeah.
see that here in Florida. You would not see that.
Well, so
Nope.
far we've behaved ourselves, right? But like
Yeah.
it's they like having us, I think, and we like going. So that's what I meant. Like I like going back to this place, man. They put bars in the parking lot for us.
That's cool. That's so sick. Um, so all right. So what does it cost to get into, and how do people sign up to do Camaro Fest?
Sure. So easiest way to sign up is go to the website. It's camarofest.org. There's a store button you can click on. And so we sell the wristbands pre-sale right now. You can get in. So there's a whole bunch of levels, and I'll try to simplify it as best I can. Um, if you are racing, if you want to drive your car, you can either come just for the road course. Some guys, I get probably about 15 guys they're not interested in drag racing, so they do the road course.
Okay.
We have a wristband just for that. If you want to do the whole deal, and that I think we got 285 for the road course. It's really not a bad price for a 1 day at NCM. Um, you go to some of these other places, they're charging 350, $400 to get there. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, we're Camaro and Firebird oriented, but it's a great deal, and you should take advantage of it. But if you want to do the whole thing all weekend, it's 375. We call that the all-in wristband. That is day at the road course, Friday, Saturday at the drag strip and the autocross and the show. Sunday we don't charge, but if you're still hanging around, you've probably paid. So that's kind of how we look at it.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's the whole deal. Then if you want to just drag race and autocross, it's $110 for Friday and Saturday. It's a 2 day pass. Unlimited passes at the drag strip. 800 cars is a lot of cars, but when you split them up with what they're doing, the drag lines are really not that long. So I mean, you could just run and run and run. It's totally up to you. We're
Yeah.
doing index racing, so we'll have those classes running, but you also have just test and tune and tons of time just to play around.
Any
um
roll racing or anything like that?
no, we're not going to probably do that this year.
Okay.
Definitely something to keep in mind, but um yeah, not this year. So and then if you're a spectator, if you're a passenger, friend, family member, whatever, if you're coming but you're not going to drive the car, it's $30 for the Friday and Saturday. There's no charge to get into the road course on Thursday,
Okay.
but it'll be a 2 day pass for $30. If you can only make it on Saturday, it's $20 for spectators at Beach Bend, and I don't want to lie, but I think it's $70 for the 1 day pass at Beach Bend as well. So, we get, people can't take time off of work or whatever. We're usually out of the track by like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So, by the time
Okay.
if you can't get the day off or something like that, you're not going to see much, rolling up to
Yeah.
Beach Bend Friday night. Um, so yeah, that's how you get in. The car show has a separate charge because
Okay.
we had to do something to limit the number of people that were entering for judging, because not that we're going to restrict it, but we can get probably between 150 and 200 cars through that show. We can't do the whole 600. So if you've got like a show ready car, like that's what you came here for, we've got a $20 charge to get into that. And it's special parking just for the car show guys. And, that way it's just on top of whatever else you purchase for the weekend.
Okay. Dude, that is a huge bang for the buck there.
I think so.
That is I mean, that's a lot of stuff you get for the price. So for when you pay for the full event,
Yeah.
Dude, that is a lot of
Yeah.
pieces that you get to add on there.
I've had a lot of people tell me that we should raise the all-in rate because it's too cheap. I mean, if you think about it, it's 3 days of racing. You get an entire road course day with 2 hours on track, 6 sessions, the whole deal. And then you've
Yeah.
got unlimited drag racing. We've got the autocross running and all the vendors. Like it really, I think we've priced it right. Um,
I mean,
and we get a lot of those all-ins getting sold early. So the only thing that limits it is the road course. We can only fit. Well, I should rephrase that. I only want to fit about 80 cars on that track. You get
okay,
more than that, and it starts getting congested, and I don't want people to have a bad time.
for
So,
sure.
we just try to keep it to a reasonable number of cars in the class, in each class that drives there, so that they can, stretch it out a little bit, have fun.
Man, that's a killer deal. That's a that makes me want to buy a Camaro now and get out there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Tell your friends, buy a
That's
Camaro, just so you can go to Camaro Fest.
just for Camaro Fest.
That's
No
it.
other
That's the only
reason.
reason to
Sits in the
have one,
garage the
really.
rest of the year. That's it, dude. Man, so well, I want to transition to Operation Torch a bit.
Sure.
Uh, dude, where did the idea for you and Josh to start working on that?
I left my wallet out at PRI, and Josh
And he bought
found
a
it.
Camaro. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good. No, so actually it was at PRI. We went there in November. I think it was November. Or was it December? It was December. Anyways, great show. If you've never been and you're in this industry, it's. I've been told
Mike
that
said or
SEMA.
two.
I've been told that SEMA is bigger. I've never been to SEMA, but let me tell you, I was blown over by how big PRI is. And at any rate, we were visiting different vendors, looking at different ways to get the word out for Camaro Fest, and Josh was there looking for ways to get the word out for his company and get more suppliers and sponsors for his stuff.
For
And we
sure.
were just walking through the hall, and I think I can't remember if it was the Trans Am cars or something was parked there. And we thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to do this? And Josh is talking like, hey, we could do it. Like, I'd love to partner with somebody and do like a shop car. And I thought, well, I'd love to partner with somebody that knows what they're doing and build a car that you could bring to Camaro Fest and compete, and do a good job. And then he goes, well, I want to compete at USCA, and Camaro Fest because he sponsors the event too. So it was just one of those things that neither one of us had said out loud. And as we were talking, just walking down some random hallway, it was like, this sounds like a good idea. We looked into it, and the idea is you can get into racing, like legit competitive racing, USCA for, I think, all in, end of the day, travel and entry fees and everything for about $40,000. And I think
Racing terms, that's a deal.
it's a huge deal, man. So
That's a
like,
deal.
people are thinking, you've got to have a ZL11LE, you got to have a freaking Z06 Corvette, spend hundreds of thousands on modifications and have a toter home and big ass trailer, and you really don't. And like, not to say that's not fun, and believe me, I would love to freaking do one of those things, but this car we found for 8,500 bucks. It was a 98 Z28. It was in decent shape. I would not say it was great, but we were planning to gut the suspension, replace the engine. Like, we didn't really care,
Yeah.
as long as it wasn't rusted through and nothing was broken. So, we found this car for 8,500 bucks. Josh and I spent a good couple of weeks debating on how to approach this in terms of keeping, the costs down versus getting the most performance that we could get out of a fourth gen. And we came up with a package somewhere. I want to say it was just about 25-ish thousand dollars, and don't quote me on that, but that was in tight, like the whole catalog of UMI, Viking suspension, the Willwood brakes, a brand new crate LS3, plus all the other little crap that you're going to have to deal with when you
Yeah.
do something like this. And oh, wheels, we got Forged Star wheels and new tires. So it was all, well thought out. Um, and we got a sponsorship for the sticker package from Fast Signs of Bowling Green. We buy our stuff from them all the time. We got I think we got a set of tires that they weren't using anymore, and Josh knows more about all that. But some great support for this car, and OSS is doing a killer job. I mean, it is,
Yeah.
for as bungled up as that engine was, that LS1 at
Dude.
Sebring, that car did amazing. And this NOLA, I can't wait to see how it does on NOLA, because the suspension should be sorted, the engine's double the
New it
horsepower.
brand
Um,
new engine. I
oh,
mean, this thing is yeah,
it's pretty. And you know what? I
I'm excited.
we had put this plan together and everything was ready to go. We buy stuff, and I think Josh and I were talking about 3 weeks ago, and he's like, oh man, what, we gotta get the engine out. I don't have enough, I got just enough time to do this powertrain project, and I think you helped him with it, right? And
Yeah.
um, he's like, is there anything else you need to do? Because once this engine's out, I don't want to drop it again, whatever. And I kind of looked at him, we were talking, and it's like, it really wasn't loud enough. And so like,
He
it had
That's
MagnaFlow
funny.
exhaust on it when we bought it. It had headers, but you go to USCA and you got all these guys just ripping your ears off when they take off, and it's
Yeah.
like you couldn't really hear ours. I felt, it was just a little
Yeah.
too quiet. So we got a set of Speed Engineering pipes. It's an axle dump, and I haven't heard it yet. Josh has been telling me that it's just
I
wicked.
haven't heard it either.
Um,
I haven't even heard I helped put the engine in. I haven't even heard it running yet.
yeah, I can't wait. I mean, essentially, it's open headers. There's like 6 extra feet of pipe. That's it.
That's it.
So it should be pretty ridiculous. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it at NOLA. I think he's going to do a really good job and score pretty well. We got the roll
Yeah.
cage in. We got the Sparko seats finally. So like, I think we're heading in the right direction. And
Yeah.
then the goal would be, after USCA, we're going to bring it to Camaro Fest, and we'll see how it runs in our field of cars. I mean, we've got everything from, like I said before, first to six gens, and all different levels of mods. And I kind of want to see if we can beat them. Like, I obviously, I won't take a trophy myself, but like, I just want to put a time up and see what we can do.
Yeah. You got a point to prove there.
I kind of do. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, you want to come to a show like this, an event, like you said, it's a deal. 375 for
Yeah.
the whole weekend. You do not need $100,000 car to do that. You can do that.
No.
This is a fourth gen.
And it is currently competing in competitive racing.
Yeah, against
Like that
anything that
is
people bring. There's GTRs and Teslas. Like, it
there's yeah,
was
a Porsche GT3,
right.
Datsun's showing up to this rate.
Yeah.
It's yeah, that dude, this car is sick. And that my first experience with Camaros, my uncle had a third gen,
Okay.
and that I called it his race car. I was a little kid, and he would drive. We would go to the mall or to the flea market or whatever, go on trips with him.
Yeah.
And this is my first experience with a fourth gen, and I'll tell you, it is. While I'm in school right now in technician school, it, I couldn't ask for a better car to really be able to get my hands in and learn on.
Really.
It it's just it I don't want to say simple, but it is to a point.
Yeah. No, I get
So,
that.
there I could be elbow deep in a BMW and be completely lost. But the
Well,
systems in this car are simple.
I was just gonna say, even a fifth or a sixth gen Camaro, they're very computer heavy. I mean,
Yeah.
the I've got a ZL1 1LE, and my differential is electronically controlled.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get that in this car. It's a
No.
it's a friggin' live axle.
It's all driver mod.
Yeah.
Pure
And
driver
that's
mod.
that's part of the reason we picked this car too. We could have done a fifth gen. I think that probably would have been within this $40,000 budget, because it
Okay.
already has an LS3. Like, if we found a
Yeah.
decent one, I think we could have made that work. But I kind of wanted to prove that you don't need to do that. I mean, you've got these older cars that I think some people dismiss as, just old news and not interesting. But there's some really excellent parts out there. And that's the other thing. There's no fabrication on this car. Nothing was like
No
custom welded or cut up or whatever. This is all magazine, like catalog, buy it, ship it,
stuff you can
bolted
buy,
in.
stuff you could do in your garage.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's, we did, like, there were a couple of things we were thinking about doing, and it was like, okay, if this is my car forever, I think I would do this instead. And it's like, yeah, but that's not the spirit of what we're doing. Like, can we do it for,
Yeah.
not, I don't want to say cheap. This is not cheap, but can I do it
What's up,
for,
Alex?
reasonable cost, and can we keep it to a point where people can do this in their garage? Because
Yeah.
there's no point in showing off if you need a friggin' fabrication shop. Um, so
Yeah. I mean, and that's the vibe I got. Sebring was my first USCA event, and the vibe that I got was these are people that want to race, they're not professional car drivers.
right.
They're regular people, and this is something they just love to do. So they're there doing it. And I feel like this car embodies that completely.
Yeah, that's the first time I'd been to one of those events too, and I would agree with you. It's just a bunch of car loving guys and girls, right? That
Yeah.
just want to drive the crap out of their cars. And I think USCA put together a really neat format,
Yeah.
um, to kind of give you an opportunity, no matter what kind of driver you are, to do a good
Yeah.
job. And then to make it more interesting, you got to do it and look good too.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the driving. That design and engineering component is the make or break for some guys. Because you can drive as good as you want, but if you're driving a hunk of crap, you're not going to get any points for D&E. And so that's why we did the theme of the 60s Trans Am car with that blue
Yeah.
and yellow and the wheels and the yellow cage. And so we're going at it like, we want to prove that this car looks good too. It's old, yeah,
Yeah.
but this is put together on purpose.
Dude, the Catfish Camaro is coming back. People are wanting them.
I got to tell you a secret. I hated those cars. Like, that was when I
Dude,
first got
they
into
were hated.
Camaros. Well, they were, and I don't know if I got a friend of mine. If you're a Camaro guy, you know the name Scott Settlemeyer, and he once told me, he goes, "There's no ugly Camaros. Some are just less fortunate than others." And I appreciated his sentiment, but I hated the fourth gens. And my dad had a second gen, which was like tied for
The
ugliest
epitome.
Camaro, right? Like that was
Yeah.
that was always the butt of a joke. So when I first learned about these cars, you go through all the generations and you look at the changes and you're like, pretty ugly. Ooh, no. And then pretty, and the fourth gen was always that, ooh, no. I never would have believed in a million years I'd have bought one, let alone be really this excited about one. But you know what? I kind of like them now. It's a good driver. You put all these parts on it, and it really changes the character of the car.
Yeah.
Um, and just as much as we've worked on it and cleaned it and stuff, I kind of like the way it looks now too, which I wouldn't have said before.
It does. The shape of it makes it look long and
It's got a
very
rake. They built like a rake into it, so it looks
yeah.
like that kind of Corvette wedge. Um, and you don't really appreciate it when you're staring at its mouth,
At the mouth.
that
When you're going
catfish
noodling.
mouth. Yeah, I think we'll add
Dude,
whiskers to ours and call it the catfish.
there you go. It'd be like the VW bugs people put the eyelashes on it.
Yes, exactly. I'm just gonna do big old catfish whiskers.
Man. Yeah, Mike said to make sure Josh vacuums it. Oh man, where did you guys find this Camaro at?
So Mike, with the Camaro Fest, he found it in like West Michigan. I forget the town. It was
Okay.
somewhere near Grand Rapids area.
So it
Um,
was essential to make sure there was no rust on that thing
oh yeah,
because
yeah, and that
they definitely salt their roads.
they do, yeah. So we looked underneath it. It looked good. I mean, there was a couple of like suspension members that didn't look completely perfect.
Oh,
But
I've been
we
all
knew we
underneath
were.
that car. It looks good.
Yeah, well, we were planning to replace literally everything that moved under there anyways. So like I wasn't
Yeah.
too concerned. But the frame itself was really nice. Um, so yeah, we found it. We found it in Michigan, brought it back to New York, so I could kind of just clean it up and get it ready, and then shipped it down to Carolina. Josh grabbed it from North Carolina and took it down to Florida, where he's working on it. It's been
Yeah.
all over.
Yeah. I was getting ready to start working with him, and then what was it? He had to go out of town for something, and then I was like, "All right, I'm ready to start whenever you are." And he's like, "Hold on, I gotta go pick the car up first."
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"Okay, that's fair. Can't do any work without the car."
No, you're not going to be able to work on it unless it's there.
Yeah, dude, yeah, this car's been a blast. It's definitely been, dude. I've had so much fun working on this car. I look forward to going and working with Josh all the time.
I think Josh's personal goal for this is to make me like it on track better than my ZL11LE. I think that's what he's trying to do. Like he's made little comments now and again, like, dude, I want you to want this car. And I think he wants me to like this a lot, with as
Yeah.
much track time as I've done. And I would hardly claim to be a pro, but I do a bunch of track days a year. And I've never raced a fourth gen. I never even considered it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes.
Oh my, Mike said to talk about the keys. He said, "My
Oh, the
bad."
keys. Yeah, so when we picked it up in Michigan, you talk about dotting your I's and crossing your T's, right? So we picked this thing up in Michigan. Time was running a little bit short. I wanted to get home. For me, it's like maybe an 8-hour drive. Um, so we start heading home, and like 45 minutes down the road, I get a text from Mike, and it's just a picture of some keys on like a table in a restaurant. And it's like, I don't know what that is. I hadn't driven this car yet, and to me, now freaking keys all have buttons on them. So I didn't think about it for like another 2 or 3 minutes, and then I realized, holy crap, where's the keys to the Camaro? Because it was on a trailer behind my truck. Mike had driven it onto the trailer, so he was physically the last ones to hold the keys in his hand. He put them in his pocket. He went one direction, I went the other, and we ended up like an hour and a half away from each other before we realized. So I had a car on my trailer with no keys, and had to turn around, and we met each other and passed them back off again. But that could have been real bad. We were talking about like overnight shipping the keys, and it's like, oh my God, what if they get lost?
Yeah.
So yeah, you make sure you have the keys to your car before you drive off.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that would have been bad. Made it all the way to Florida without keys. That would have been bad.
Yeah, well, I would have
I mean, I'm
realized it
sure
as
you would
soon
have
as
noticed them. Yeah.
as soon as I tried to take it off the trailer at home. I would have noticed. It was not good. That was funny. I felt like such an idiot. I didn't even check. I almost didn't pay the guy. We were there and we were talking so much about this car and how cool it was, and everybody's getting excited, and I'm freezing my ass off, strapping it down. I almost hopped back in the truck, and I still had the envelope in my ass pocket with his money. And I'm sorry, dude. Here, you probably want this if I'm taking your car.
Yeah. That would have been an angry message.
Yeah, well, he didn't even ask for it either. I was like, oh crap, I shouldn't do that. That looks bad. So
Oh
a lot of
man.
forgetting things.
Man, so what are future plans with this? So you're gonna drive it at Camaro Fest
Yeah,
and
so the next race is NOLA. Um, After NOLA, Josh and I, we're going to hand it off again. I'm going to bring it back up to New York. I'm going to give it like a paint treatment. I'm going to try to correct the paint and
okay.
do some interior stuff and kind of dress it up a little bit. And
Yeah.
then my first race with it will be in Pittsburgh at the end of
Okay.
May.
Pit race.
Yeah, pit race. And then end of June is Road America.
Okay.
Camaro Fest is at the end of July. And then Summit Point is, when is that one? End of August, maybe October, something like. I think it's August. End of August is Summit Point. The goal is obviously we want to lead. We want podium at Camaro Fest. We want to be. I'd like to be good at my own event. And
Absolutely.
then, um, and then we want to. We want to. If anybody's familiar with USCA, you've got to either win your day wherever you go, or you've got to get enough points to get in. So our goal is to,
Yeah.
we're modest. We want to get enough points to get into the
It's
Invitational, which
SEMA.
is in SEMA in
Yeah.
November. So if we can get that, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this car in a trailer, or maybe we don't even drive it. I think Josh wants to bring his own car out to SEMA too. So we might do like a little catfish caravan.
Dude, I
Um,
think that's the move.
that would be pretty cool. So if
I
if
could
I
make
if
a
I
I
can
could
get
make a
enough days
video with
off of
that.
work, that would be awesome. But we'll carry this car to SEMA hopefully. And then after that, I don't know. I hope it piques somebody's interest because this is an incredible car that OSS is building,
I
and
guarantee it's gonna be. Somebody's gonna be interested in it for
yeah.
sure.
So it'll be well. At this point, I'll just phrase it'll be on the market after SEMA. I'd hardly like to work a deal out with somebody and then go wreck their car. So we'll we'll prove what we want to prove, have a good time, clean it up,
Yeah.
fix everything, repowder coat the wheels, do whatever we have to do to make it a good quality deal. And then see if somebody would like a really well built race car fourth gen.
I mean, really well built.
Really
The
well built.
thing's brand new LS3 in it.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
it's a
brand
fourth gen
spanking
with a
new.
powertrain warranty, folks. I mean, let's they don't make those anymore.
No. You get phone calls about your extended warranty on your 4-gen Camaro.
So yeah, that's
Braden said the catfishes are going to take over Vegas.
they are.
Let's
What
go
we should
drive up
do
and
is
down the strip.
we'll D&E and Josh and I should walk up in waders and like fishing poles.
Oh. That would be fun. Yes. Just sit there.
Well, this here is my trophy catfish.
It's got to be like a cane pole.
Yeah, with a
It's
little
got to be a
dollar on
cane
it, like
pole.
that commercial. Oh, almost
Yeah,
got it.
got you $1. Got you $1.
Got you $1.
Guys, I gotta tell you guys something. Joe's gonna hate me for it, but today is Joe's birthday.
Oh, good Lord.
So make sure to hit him with a happy birthday in the comments.
Thank you.
Yeah, had to do it. Had to do it. Dude, yeah, what was it?
Here
Alex
I
said
am
we
spending
got
it with you.
dude, yeah, Alex, my buddy Alex at 863 photo. You guys check it out on Instagram, 863 photo fire content. He was saying we got to get rollers of them on the strip. The catfish is on the strip. That would be
That would
sick.
be really good, actually.
Yeah. Vintage style post production on them. Oh,
Uh-huh.
that would look cool.
Oh, yeah.
That would look cool. Camaro van across the US.
There you go. Coast
Dude,
to coast.
everybody in the comments liking the idea of caravanning to SEMA.
I think so. We'll stop at every giant ball of yarn and every like giant spreads of cheese
Route
along the route.
66.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's the American car dream, I believe. Like
Hey,
that's the epitome of Camaro.
You were talking earlier about Top Gear content. Like, dude, we need a chase car with some cameras and friggin' radios. We'll be
Dude.
rolling hours of just ridiculous content.
I mean, that would be like documentary almost style film worthy, and that would be a great project. I would definitely be interested in that project for sure. That would be cool. Alex, you're being modest, dude. Mediocre photographer. This dude moved to Australia for a year.
Ooh.
To go photograph cars.
And he survived?
He's still there. He's still there.
All right. Wilderness hasn't killed him yet.
Not yet. I mean, he's from Florida, so I think if any American has a chance, he's probably got it.
Yeah, the Australian spiders have got nothing on Florida's gators.
We got crocodiles too, man. But yeah, dude. So Well, let's we're gonna wrap it up here, man. Plug in, any sponsors, anybody you want to thank, any, where to find you on social media, whatever you
Sure.
want people to add you.
I'd direct everybody to CamaroFest.org. Our Facebook page is the Camaro Fest. Um, we've got a group there for discussions. We've got the main page where you're going to get information about the event. We post a lot of goofy like memes and stuff too. So if you're into the car content, that's just good, um, good feed space there for you. And then it's worth thanking Josh and OSS for the amount of effort that they've put into this car. I mean, it's really, when I say it's well built, like I'm not just blowing smoke, and it's really been the attention to detail that they've been putting into it. So um, that was really crucial. And then thanks to you, man. I mean, you did a lot of coverage at Sebring, and here I am now, and you've got your podcast and this cover. I mean, uh, it's great to see how it always happens this way, right? I don't know if it's all cars or Camaros or whatever, but you do one stupid thing with a car and all the different people you meet and all the friends you make, and it's like this was not the plan. I just wanted to go fast, and um, so yeah, it's been a really really wild ride, and the season's just started. So
Yeah, dude. I mean, I appreciate you letting me get the coverage on the car because that's given me something really cool to to take photos and video of. So
for sure, yeah, it's good experience. No matter how you go at it, it's a really fun project to be part of.
yeah, it is. It's been a blast. I have really enjoyed working on it. So, but yeah, man, that's Michael, if you hit him up on Instagram, 863 photo, I don't know if he'll be back by then, but definitely send him a message. I'm sure he would be interested to be a photographer for you guys. That would be cool. But yeah, man, happy birthday, dude.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that little surprise at the end.
Yeah,
Um, good luck. Good luck with the future podcasts. Maybe we'll hop
dude.
back on again.
Dude, absolutely. I definitely got to get you back on for sure. So, you guys, like and follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit up camarofest.org, go follow those guys. Go out to Camaro Fest, even if you're just gonna if you are anywhere near that location, man, that sounds like a killer event. And I'm gonna
Good.
do everything I can to get there.
I hope you can come. It's really, folks. They hear my stories and they're like, "Oh, that sounds fun," and then they come here and they just stare at me like, "Dude, this is incredible." So yeah, come on out. It's a good time.
Yeah, dude. But all right, guys, you have a good night. Appreciate you coming on, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Blake. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, you guys take it easy.